Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's kick off today's video with the story in which our OP, a seasoned retail pro, faces down a Karen demanding a refund on a pair of shoes that look like they hiked Everest. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with a turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Customer service level, politely denied Karen, got called a demon. Retail, that magical world where the customer is always right until they're very, very wrong. So today, Karen tried to return a pair of shoes. Sounds simple enough, right? Nope, not when those shoes looked like they'd been on a 3-day hike through the Sahara, a swamp, and the local dog park. Let's start with the evidence. The shoes were visibly scuffed all over the sides, dirt embedded in the treads so deep it could probably grow potatoes, and the insides were, how do I put this, seasoned. There were tiny stones wedged into the sole and a faint but distinct scent of long, sweaty walk with a side of regret. Policy at our store is clear. No change of mind refunds unless the item is in resellable condition, and resellable doesn't mean if you squint and ignore the mud. She walks in holding the shoes in one hand and her receipt in the other, already with the face of someone expecting an argument. You know the one, eyebrows slightly raised, lips pursed, attitude radiating off her like static. Hi, I'd like a refund. These are really uncomfortable. I give my usual pleasant retail smile and take a look. Unfortunately, these have been worn, so I can't process a return on them. Karen immediately kicks into performance mode. I only wore them for 3 days before I realized they were hurting my feet, she says, huffing like she's confessing a great tragedy. I calmly repeat the policy. She blinks. Okay, well, actually, it was just 1 day, maybe 2 hours. Interesting. Still, we can't refund worn shoes unless there's a manufacturing fault, which this doesn't appear to be. Her eyes narrow. I only wore them for 2 minutes inside my house, on carpet. And just like that, we've gone from a 3-day trek to a barefoot stroll across a yoga mat. Fascinating. She demands I call management. I do. They say exactly what I just did. She doesn't like that. Not one bit. Karen then flings the shoes at me. Yes, physically hurls them, missing my head by about 6 inches. For a moment, I consider if I could claim hazard pay, but alas, we don't get combat bonuses in retail. She storms out the door like she's just been gravely wronged by a cruel and heartless society that won't let her return her well-worn $39.99 sneakers. Fast forward about 30 minutes. A woman enters the store. She's in her 70s, hair perfectly curled, pearls and all. Her husband follows close behind, looking like a man who's witnessed one too many shopping disasters in his day. She slaps her handbag on the counter. I'm here for my daughter's shoes. Without missing a beat, I grabbed the pair Karen tried to yeet at my skull and hand them over. Honestly, I was more than happy to return them. Less likely I'd get concussed the second time around. Now, why wouldn't you return these, she demands, tone sharp enough to slice deli meat. I explain again the store policy. Calmly, professionally, with the patience of a saint and the soul of someone who's already died inside. The woman scowls. My daughter is out in the car park crying. She says it like I personally dragged her daughter into the store and waterboarded her with a shoehorn. I'm very sorry she's upset, I say, but unfortunately we can't refund worn items unless they're faulty. She snatches the shoes out of my hand like she's trying to win a retail version of Capture the Flag and spits out, well, we're never shopping here again. And then, because there's always an encore, she adds, this store is absolute crap, and you're the devil's spawn. I blink. Thank you? She storms off. Her husband gives me a look that's equal parts embarrassment and pity before silently following her out. And me? I just stand there marveling. I didn't know I was the devil's spawn. Honestly, I feel like there should have been a memo. A welcome packet, maybe? Do I get a lanyard? Some cool powers? A discount at Hot Topic? If nothing else, the title should come with dental. We really do need a sign at the counter. Sorry, we've reached our quota of Karens for today. Please try again tomorrow. But let's be real. I'll see Karen again within a week, probably in a different pair of shoes, just as worn, just as unworn, and just as entitled. And me, I'll be right here behind the counter, smiling through the nonsense, dreaming of a world where people wipe their feet before entering retail hell. Retail employees should legally be allowed to fight one customer per year. Or, there's too many of them just to choose one. Rather, there should be an annual purge day, chosen at random, so the Karens can't predict when it is, where staff can say or do whatever they like without fear of repercussions. And our second story. Neighbor parks like he owns the complex, then throws a beer bottle at my door when I park near my own home. So this circus has been going on for about 3 months now, and I've just about had it. My neighbor, let's call him Cletus, lives with his super religious family in a nearby apartment unit. You'd think he'd park in one of their assigned spots, right? Nope. For some reason, Big Daddy, yes, that's literally what his front license plate says, spray painted on like a toddler made it, insists on parking next to my condo. And he always takes up 2 spots, always, every single time. Now, I'm not an unreasonable person. There's technically space for me to park elsewhere in the complex, but I'm tired of hiking 2 blocks with groceries just because this guy has to park diagonally like he's blocking traffic in a monster truck rally. I've confronted him politely, I've left a note, I even approached his mother. Oh boy, that's when things escalated. His mom, let's just call her Karen, is a whole different breed of crazy. Imagine an alcoholic evangelical who smells like hairspray and boxed wine and always manages to be outside chain smoking and glaring at people like she's waiting for a fight. I asked her if she could speak to her son about the truck situation. Her response? You don't own the road, sweetheart. Maybe if you had a man, you'd understand how parking works. Yeah, that's the level of delusion we're working with. Anyway, I tried to be the bigger person. I avoided confrontation. I let it go until today. I got home early from work, miracle of miracles, and parked in my spot. Everything was calm for a while, until I woke up from a nap to the sound of someone pounding on my front door like they were trying to break it down. I groggily got up and peeked through the peephole. Yep, there was Big Daddy himself, red in the face and slurring every other word. Open the door, you effing bee! Yeah, totally normal behavior for someone mad that I dared to park where I live. I cracked the door and told him to back off. That's when he launched into a screaming tirade about how people like me always think we're better than everyone else. People like me? What? Women with boundaries? Then he chucked his half-empty beer bottle at the ground, shattering it all over my welcome mat. That's when I slammed the door, locked every bolt, and called the cops. Police showed up surprisingly fast, probably because Cletus was still pacing back and forth in front of my door, yelling about how he'd flatten my tires if I didn't move my car. To their credit, the officers were professional and took my side immediately. They made him go back to his apartment, and I filed a police report right there. Karen came out during the whole thing and tried to defend her son. She slurred, "He's just stressed out. He's got demons, you know. You're provoking him with your tone." The cops gave her a warning, too, because she refused to stop yelling at me while they were taking my statement. I was granted a temporary restraining order against both of them, and I've already filed paperwork for a permanent one. The apartment owner is looking into it, doing absolutely nothing. But I'm also documenting everything now, videos, photos, timestamps. I'm ready for court if it comes to that. In the meantime, I've installed security cameras and had my tires checked for slashes every day. So if a man named Big Daddy and his wine-drunk mother start parking near your place and yelling about demons, just go straight to the cops. Don't even bother with the notes. You're not overreacting, OP. You're defending your home. Cletus and his mom sound like they're auditioning for a reality show. Don't give them the spotlight. Stay safe and let the paperwork do the talking. And our last story. They tried to build a road through our garden. My husband and I bought our first home not long ago. We thought we were buying a quiet little house with a long private driveway and space to build a garage or plant a garden. What we actually bought was a front row seat to one of the shadiest real estate tricks I've ever seen. Let me break it down. We went under contract on a cute property that had a long driveway leading up to the house. The listing described it as private, and we loved the idea of setting up a little workshop or garage at the end of it. We were excited, nervous, first-time buyers trying to make good choices. The seller just so happened to also be the real estate agent representing the property. They assured us they'd take care of us. We hired our own agent, of course, and everything seemed normal until it wasn't. A day after our due diligence period ended and we could no longer legally back out without financial penalty, we received these survey results. The driveway was labeled Private RW, which meant private right-of-way. Neither of us knew what that meant at the time, and shocker, no one explained it to us. Turns out the seller, again also the listing agent, had filed an easement for the driveway with the town, a recorded document granting access from the road through our driveway to a plot of land they still owned behind our house. You know, just casually turning our driveway into a road for a potential development after we're locked into the deal. And of course, they didn't mention this during negotiations. Not once. We moved in. Literally the next day, some guy showed up to install a road sign at the end of our driveway. I thought it was a mistake, but nope. The sign had the name of a new road they'd submitted for approval, a full-on road to be paved using the back half of our driveway. That part of the property we thought we'd use for a garden, a garage, off limits. It was now slated to be a public extension for the lot behind us. Cue my meltdown. We dug into town records, and sure enough, the easement was recorded just after our due diligence expired, right before closing. The surveyor noted it, but nobody, not our agent, not the title attorney, and certainly not the seller, pointed it out or explained what it meant. We were furious. We'd been misled, lied to even. And the more we looked into it, the more obvious it became that this was a deliberate setup to keep us from backing out of the deal. So we lawyered up. Our real estate attorney agreed this wasn't a simple misunderstanding. This was failure to disclose and potentially fraudulent concealment. Because the seller was both the homeowner and a licensed agent, they were held to a higher standard of disclosure, and that easement should have been made crystal clear, especially since it fundamentally changed the use of our property. We filed a formal complaint with the State Real Estate Commission and initiated civil litigation against both the seller and the brokerage. We claimed misrepresentation, breach of fiduciary duty, and deceptive practices. It took a few months of legal wrangling, depositions, and one glorious moment where our attorney confronted the seller with the easement's timestamp and our contract date. You could hear a pin drop. We won. The court agreed the easement had been concealed and that we'd been misled. The judge ruled that the seller had engaged in deliberate non-disclosure. The road extension plan was blocked, the easement voided due to the fraud, and we were awarded $25,000 in damages, full attorney fees, and a permanent injunction preventing any future use of our driveway as access to the back lot. The seller lost their real estate license shortly after the state commission concluded their investigation. Today, our garden beds are planted exactly where the road sign used to be, and my husband built the garage he always wanted right across the spot where the back lot was supposed to cut through. That developer's brazen move to railroad you right after closing is outrageous. Classic bait and switch. I'd be just as furious seeing those orange flags appear through my yard. Their dream subdivision now has to leave you an open gate forever. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.